So I'm just doing some dream tracking. It's February 3rd, and I just woke up from my dreams, and I was in the thick of the dream, and I was talking about a home or a property that I live on, and it seemed to be fairly new. Whoever I was talking to in my dream, I was there with my now partner. And we were talking about how the sun moves and how we get shade after a certain space. I can't remember everything that I saw, but when I was talking about the shade, I could see the light moving, and it wasn't exactly the same space that I saw when I was talking about the way the sun moved. So it's like I was facing towards the west, and sorry, towards the east, and the sun was setting, and so the shadow was coming this way, towards the southeast. I was facing, and so the sun was coming over this way, over the house, and there was like another a little gravel road, and then another section where there were trees where my house was, but continuing west southwestward, not far, just like across the street. And we were talking about that, and then out of nowhere the dream changed, and I was talking about my son, and it was my mom, which I've had very select conversations with my mother about my son. I've never talked to my mother about my son, and I hardly ever talk to my mother. So, and I don't often dream about my mother, and it's not often a good thing. But it's usually some kind of nightmare. And when I looked at her, it's like I was talking about the house and then talking about the trees and that's parcel where the sun goes, and then it was suddenly my mom kind of standing in that space, and I had this feeling like I was flipped around all of a sudden when I had that. It's like, okay, now look at this dream. Like somebody grabbed me by the shoulder and turned me, almost. But I was still looking in the same direction, but it's almost like the whole thing flipped. And then I saw that, and it was just my mom. I don't have any context of where she was. There was nothing around her. It was just her in that space where something else was. And then I was saying something about my son. Somebody's trying to tell me that he's dead, and I'm like, and my mom just asks me, like, it's not in the moment, it's like an auditory thing where I'm just trying to process what my mom's saying to me. It's almost like you're processing words after you've heard them, is the feeling of how I'm receiving the information of my son's death. And my mom asks me in that moment, aren't you burying him today? But almost like holding out her hand, like she was gonna, like, didn't you bury him today? But she didn't know his name. What's his name? It was the weirdest thing. And I'm obviously thinking of my baby, because that's the last time I saw him, so it feels like my baby. But it's my son that I know she's talking about. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What happened? What happened to him after they took him from me? Because I've been presuming he's with his son, or with his father and his father's family, because they won't tell me where he went. I'm not allowed to contact anybody, and frankly, I'm afraid to ask questions, so I just don't ask anybody anything. Because there's nothing that I can do, and there's no way that I can verify or trust the information. So I have not asked for help. When I was first brought I asked for help from CAS, and CAS wouldn't answer my questions. So if the government agency that's accountable to me, that took my child from me, doesn't want to tell me, or that's responsible or accountable for them having taken my child from me, then, I don't actually want to ask questions because it's just a recipe for activating my PTSD and not having any power or recourse or resolution. So I have not been asking those questions, but then today it's very nagging at me that I woke up and then I have these two things. Okay, I never see my mom in my dreams. The last time I saw my sister in my dreams, it was upsetting. Right now I'm seeing my mom in my dreams and it's upsetting. So they're of no actual help. And there's nothing of value that they're actually asking me in my dreams. And this is where dream tracking can get a little tricky. Where do you dismiss data that's coming in for a reason? And where do you ensure that you don't get yourself flipped around? And so why I think this is an implant dream and not a real my dream, whether it's implanted by my fears or it's implanted by somebody else's fears or somebody else's reality, or this reality, I have to be very cautious. What is the value? What's the feeling I'm left with? And so for me, the only thing of value that I'm left with from that dream is that potentially my mother could be a course of information at some point for things that I don't have access to. And I'm left with the feeling like I need to ask more questions and I need to push for more answers. And because I actually do have these rights no matter what they say to me, and no matter what they've done and no matter what they claim. This is not okay. The circumstances and the situation is not okay. And this is what my body's telling me. So I'm going to go cry now. Because I've just woken up and I just want to calibrate myself. But there's a real message here for me. There always are in my dreams, whether they're to myself or of the reality around me. So what's happening in the world and the way we treat women and children is not okay, people. The way we treat men is not okay. But they seem to like it.